Good afternoon. Today I'll be presenting on my social project, Let's All Get Employed. So basically the purpose of my social project is to actually talk about the social issue of unemployment. So just to give you guys a short introduction, so as the world is actually getting more globalized and integrated, many countries actually becoming more integrated by sharing their resources, their people as well as their technology. So one of the things that actually has been spreading rapidly is technology, whereby many different countries in the world, mostly the developed countries, actually getting more technological savvy as time passes by. So because of this, right, it actually led to an increase in unemployment because automation has replaced many repetitive jobs. So to just give you guys some perspective on what repetitive jobs are, it could actually be like cashiering, whereby instead of having a person to register to man a cashier, now instead you actually have a automated machine that could just accept cash from you. Another example could be a customer service robot that could actually reply to most of the uh, customers queries, okay, without having the use of an actual customer service representative. Thus, for the purpose of this social enterprise, I'll be focusing on unemployment in Singapore. So Singapore is actually often cited for their cosmopolitan culture and their openness to innovation. So Singapore actually has actually been voted as one of the top countries when it comes to adopting innovations. Thus, I believe that in its attempt to actually maintain its position as one of the top countries in technological innovations, Singapore is constantly adopting technology as quickly as it can. Thus, I feel that unemployment in Singapore is actually a very evident problem that could be coming soon, because a study by the Cisco and Economics forecasting agency, okay, Oxford Economics, actually predicted that by 2028, about one fifth of Singaporeans of the full-time working force will actually have their jobs displaced. Thus, for the purpose of this job, right, I mean of this project, I have decided to focus on unemployment in Singapore. So the target audience that I actually have, right, would actually be the youths, because I believe that youths are the more technological savvy individuals, and they are able to adapt to the changing workforce faster than the older generations. The generations actually experience a more a harsher impact, okay, from unemployment. However, I believe that youths are able to adapt faster to this system, and therefore they should be the people that we could be helping now. So basically, some goals and motivations of my project will include that I would like to conduct training and education for youths, and to enable them to find employment within a year of training. Also, I would like to reduce youth unemployment as a whole. So when I was actually thinking of this social project, I actually found three companies to use as the company references. So these three companies will actually include URock, VoidStarter, and TaskSquad. So basically, URock is an application system that it actually allows people around the world to actually post up information about themselves and to answer a questionnaire. When they actually answer this questionnaire, there will be a six diamond rubrics that will actually be produced, okay, that will actually tell them about which qualities do they have, and employers would actually go onto this application and to select the individuals that they feel would be a good suit to their company. Void Starter, on the other hand, is a project that actually wants to counter two issues. So these two issues will actually include unemployment, as well as to utilize abandoned buildings in Ireland. So basically, Void Starter, what they do is that they will actually want to convert abandoned buildings in the country into office spaces, right, for the people in the country. Lastly, and then also for the Void Starter, right, they will allow these individuals to use these spaces to convert them, okay, into offices or into discussion rooms, okay, and also to work on these rooms so that they could actually allow these rooms to be sent to be furnished back to the government after the project is done. Lastly is Task Squad. So Task Squad is slightly similar to UROC. So what Task Squad actually does is that it actually provides a platform for youth to apply for long-term employment as well as for short-term employment. So for the purpose of this project, I've decided to integrate all three factors of these three different companies to actually come up with a social enterprise that could embody the current characteristics, as well as to include something that I feel would be relevant in order to create a social enterprise. So this my solution to this problem is where I will create a program where youths can select between short-term employment and long-term employment. So this will be done using an application where our social enterprise will act as an agency to actually help these youths look for jobs. So there'll be two kinds of selections whereby they could select for short-term or long-term employment. If they choose short-term employment, they will be referred to the application where they could find jobs, okay, like odd jobs, for example, an administrative job for like 3 days, or they could even find like a cleaning job for like 2 days and basically get consistent employment from time to time. On the other hand, if they were to choose long-term employment, they would then be given two options on this application. These options would be to either get a guided mentorship or whether they should do not want a guided mentorship. So this guided mentorship is actually a program which allows them to sit down with a professional and to learn how they can actually create their own startup culture, which basically employs them, and secondly, it actually helps to employ other uh, troubled youths as well. So, should they prefer this guided mentorship program, right? They would actually have a professional that they could actually sit down in an area where they could discuss about their project to be implemented. However, if they do not choose a guided mentor, then they will actually be referred to the application whereby they will go through uh, a rubric system which is similar to what they did in Task Squad, which will allow us to match them to potential employers. Then I would like to actually adopt the idea of your void starter, okay, because if you remember about my option on the guided mentorship, I would like to utilize all of the abandoned spaces in Singapore, for example, abandoned buildings, abandoned schools, and we like to convert these places into temporary offices for these youths to actually come together to discuss with one another and to generate new ideas for social enterprises that could be formed. However, one thing that actually I realized about this idea, right, was that while I was encouraging these youth to actually create social enterprises or to find employment, whether short term or long term, it doesn't qualify as a social enterprise unless we're actually making profit, or in a sense we're making revenue. Thus, what I learned from these three companies was that they did not actually utilize any uh, ways to. Most of them were actually non-profit, and they did not actually get any revenue out of this uh, social enterprise idea. Therefore, I'd like to introduce a new system whereby at the start, okay, we will actually try to get fundings from external donors to run our programs. However, after 1 year, when the company is doing relatively well and breaking even, I'd like to introduce a membership fee that will be paid by all youths that will provide them not only a mentorship program whereby professionals will come down and help them, but at the same time, they will also be given access to training and workshops that could be included in this workforce. I mean, in these offices. Also, when we actually find long-term or short-term employment for these youths, we will actually be liaising with the company and acting as a middleman. We will be charging them a certain percentage that will be taken from the first 3 months of their service in the company. So all this money will actually be used to generate profit for the company as well as to use as funding to sustain our future projects. So one thing about my project is that I have tried to actually combine qualities of all three factors and to include some solutions of my own, such as the membership payment as well as basically acting as a recruiting agency as well in a certain sense to actually earn profit for the company. Because I believe that if we were to embody all three good characteristics of all three companies, we could actually come out with a social enterprise that could potentially resolve the issue of unemployment in Singapore. So more of this project will actually be shared in my final report. Thank you.